Here's something to think about. Studies suggest that up to 95% of our daily decisions happen subconsciously. That's almost everything we do on autopilot.
Wait, 95%? That's a huge number. Are you saying most of what we think we're deciding is just automatic?
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. Whether we're really thinking for ourselves or if we're just running on programming from our environment, our culture, and even technology.
All right, I'm intrigued. Let's start with this idea of subconscious decisions. What does that even mean in practical terms?
Well, think about something as simple as your morning routine. You wake up, brush your teeth, maybe grab coffee. You're not actively deciding each step. It's just habit, but it goes deeper than that. Even the way you react to situations, the opinions you hold, and the things you value are often shaped by forces you're not fully aware of.
So you're saying we're basically running on autopilot most of the time. But isn't that just efficiency? I mean, if we had to consciously think about every little thing, we'd never get anything done.
That's true to an extent. Habits and routines are efficient. But here's the catch. If those habits are built on assumptions or influences you've never questioned, how much of your life is really yours? For example, why do you prefer one political party over another? Or why do you believe certain things about success or happiness? Chances are, those beliefs didn't come out of nowhere.
Hmm, I see what you're saying. But isn't that just part of being human? We're social creatures, so of course we're influenced by the people and culture around us.
Absolutely, but there's a difference between being influenced and being unaware of that influence. Let's take advertising as an example. Companies spend billions of dollars to shape how you think about their products. They're not just selling you a phone or a car, they're selling you an identity, a lifestyle. And most of the time, we don't even realize it's happening.
Oh, okay. I get it now. It's like when you see an ad for something and think, I need that, even though you didn't care about it 5 minutes ago. But isn't it still my choice whether or not to buy it?
That's the tricky part. It feels like your choice, but it's often a choice within boundaries that have already been set for you. For example, social media algorithms show you content based on what you've liked or interacted with before. Over time, that creates a bubble where you're only exposed to certain ideas or products. So are you really choosing, or are you just picking from what's been put in front of you?
That's actually kind of unsettling. But let me push back a little. Can't we just step back and make conscious decisions? Like, if I know an algorithm is trying to influence me, I can choose to ignore it, right?
In theory, yes. But in practice, it's not that simple. Algorithms are designed to be addictive. They're constantly learning about you, your fears, your desires, even your mood. And they use that information to keep you engaged. It's not just about showing you what you like, it's about shaping what you like.
So you're saying it's not just passive influence, it's active manipulation. That's a pretty bold claim.
It is, but there's evidence to back it up. For example, studies have shown that platforms like Facebook can influence voter turnout by tweaking what kinds of posts people see. And it's not just politics. Think about how trends go viral. It's not random, it's engineered.
Okay, that's a little scary, but let's zoom out for a second. If we're all shaped by our environment, does that mean there's no such thing as free will? Are we just products of our programming?
That's the big question, isn't it? I don't think it's as black and white as free will versus no free will. It's more like a spectrum. We have some agency, but it's limited by the frameworks we're operating within. For example, if you grow up in a culture that values individualism, you're more likely to see yourself as independent. But if you grow up in a collectivist culture, you might prioritize community over self. Neither perspective is inherently right or wrong. They're just different ways of seeing the world.
That makes sense. But it also raises another question. If our beliefs and values are shaped by our environment, how do we know what's truly ours? How do we separate what we've absorbed from what we've chosen?
That's where self-awareness comes in. It's not about rejecting everything you've been taught. It's about questioning it. For example, if you believe that success means having a high-paying job, ask yourself why. Is that your definition, or is it something you've inherited from society? The more you question, the more you can start to identify what feels authentic to you.
I like that idea, but it sounds easier said than done. How do you even begin to untangle all those layers of influence?
It's definitely not easy, but there are a few steps you can take. First, expose yourself to different perspectives. Read books, watch documentaries, talk to people with different backgrounds. The more you expand your worldview, the more you can see the limitations of your own. Second, practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and emotions and try to identify where they're coming from. And finally, be willing to change your mind. It's okay to let go of beliefs that no longer serve you.
That's great advice. But let me ask you this. Do you think it's possible to ever fully escape our programming? Or is that just wishful thinking?
I don't think we can ever completely escape it. We're always going to be shaped by our environment to some extent, but I do think we can become more aware of it, and that awareness gives us more freedom to choose how we respond. It's not about being completely free, it's about being freer than we were before.
That's a hopeful way to look at it. So, what's the takeaway here? How can people start thinking for themselves in a world that's constantly trying to influence them?
The first step is to pause and reflect. When you have a strong opinion or reaction, ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is this really mine, or is it something I've absorbed? The second step is to seek out diverse perspectives. The more you challenge your own assumptions, the more you can grow. And finally, remember that it's okay to not have all the answers. Real thinking begins with asking questions, not with having conclusions.
I love that. It's not about being perfect, it's about being curious. And maybe that's the real key to freedom.
Exactly. Curiosity is what keeps us questioning, and questioning is what keeps us growing. So are we free thinkers or products of our environment? Maybe we're both, and maybe that's okay.
I think that's a great note to end on. This has been such an eye opening conversation.
It really has. And who knows? Maybe just having this conversation is a step toward thinking for ourselves.
Maybe it is. Until next time.
Until next time.